And now a criminal investigation into allegations surrounding Britain's former ambassador to the U.S.
Security forces escalating attacks on
Toronto police are investigating the tragic shooting of a 16-year-old student happening.
If you've ever watched cable news channels, you'd probably agree that crime is getting worse. These days, all you see on social media is crime, criminals, and victims. What is doomscrolling? Well, imagine yourself watching the news on TV, or your phone. What percentage of the news you watch is based on positive, uplifting stories? Exactly. It's all doom.
Yeah, I've been looking on the news, I've been online and stuff. Just seems like crime's getting a lot worse.
I'd say that I feel like media on crime has more so made me just fearful. I feel like it's made me just generally feel like there's more danger out there that I have to be aware of.
I don't know, I've been watching a little bit of the news and I haven't really seen much, but there's a little more of youth crime, so I think it's getting a little worse.
Sure, these stories are important, I'm not denying that. But also, doom attracts attention. And these media companies know this. This is why you think crime is getting worse, but really, it's not that bad. Let me rephrase. This is why you think crime is getting worse, even though if you look at the stats, it's actually a lot better than it was 100 years ago.
Is violent crime really out of control, or are media outlets disproportionately impacting our perception of it? Are they giving an accurate portrayal of violent crime in Chicago, or are they distorting the picture of what's going on by the way they report on it?
I don't know that they are distorting it, but as was said in the earlier piece, they're not providing any context.
This guy might have the most pretentious sounding voice I've ever heard in my life, but he is correct. Media companies spend most of their time covering negative news stories instead of balancing with more positive ones. This is what leads us to this doom and gloom mindset that allows us to believe that crime is getting worse overall. While these media companies may not have malicious intent, it cannot be denied that this type of reporting misleads the world. A 2020 Finnish study surveying victims, non-victims, and just consumers of media, both online and on TV, highlights similar themes and ideas, furthering the notion that these news outlets are purposely portraying the most bloody crime that they can for attention and shock value. Personally, I try to avoid as much cable television and social media as possible. I'm already aware of the mental health risks associated with consuming negative information all the time, so I try my best to avoid it. The way I see it, if there's nothing really I can do about it, I think it's best to just avoid learning about crime happening within my area, or just in general. But is that truly the best way to approach this? In criminologist Rick Linden's A Canadian Perspective, he makes note of the fact that a lot of media companies do select their programming based solely on just potential for viewership, with very little intention of actually following up on the aftermath of the crime, or, catching up with the victims to kind of just see how they're doing, which is why I think it's important to consider this when viewing these tragedies on TV. So when I do inevitably catch myself watching the news every once in a while, I do try to approach it with sort of a more human perspective. You have to remember that these victims have lives, and you need to empathize with them to a certain degree, because otherwise, what's the point? You probably thought you were safe if you only watch fictional crime dramas instead of the news, but shows like 911 and Murdoch Mysteries are actually worse. Okay, maybe not Murdoch Mysteries. According to authors Ken Dowler, Thomas Fleming, and Stephen L. Muzzatti, watching TV crime dramas can lead to the CSI effect, which is why you might walk into jury duty one day expecting heaps of evidence when really that's not how real life works. What I'm trying to say is just try to be aware of how media affects your perception of local crime or crime around the world. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go watch Breaking Bad.